Salutations, School Believer. Do you have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, but don't know where to start or even what to do? Where can I gather information quickly about what's in my zone of genius? Don't worry, School Believers. I got you covered. Go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt and check out an amazing set of AI prompts that will give you ideas, information, and articles to help you get across that start line. Once again, go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt to get you started now. Good luck, School Believer. Welcome to The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, the podcast where brand new entrepreneurs come to life and could quite possibly be discovered. Join me, DJ Scoob, and the rest of the Scoob Believers as we help these new businesses become a reality. And now, away we go! We now join DJ Scoob in the next coaching of Deborah Newt, owner of Leap Life Coaching, already in progress. To talk to you after our last session, we were talking about the modeling thing and your questionnaire, and so many fantastic things have happened to you when we last talked. So I'm really excited to get an update on how things are going with you and how that's all working out.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been so excited to talk to you too. I'll tell you what's been going on.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll start with the bad news. Yeah, so I got asked immediately, did I tell you that I went to the modeling agency and I got hired?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did, because we texted. Okay. And then just a few days later, they sent me a job. And I accepted, and I was really excited. And then I spoke to my accountant, and he gave me this whole thing about how I can't issue invoices. I'm a freelancer, but I'm like a business consultant. So he said, you can't issue invoices as a model, and it'll mess up. It was just this long, complicated story. So I spoke to them, and I said, unfortunately, I don't know if I can do this. And they were really helpful. They were trying to find ways, but I really couldn't. I don't know. I was just in this really scared mindset. Oh my God, what if I get caught doing something I'm not supposed to be doing? I don't know. Maybe it's not that serious over there, but I guess it is over here. So I'm just fixing my tea. And so I think I burnt that bridge. Which I was really upset about. I think I mourned it because I just think, I don't know, I was just in this mindset. I can't really describe it. Of course this wouldn't work out. Of course there's going to be something that is going to mess this up. And I'm actually I tear up just thinking about it because it was something I was so excited about. It was something I was so proud of myself for doing because it was so different from anything I had ever let myself even dream. So I tried to philosophize it okay, it doesn't matter. It's, I can't do much about it because especially since I was involved in that legal case years ago, I'm really careful about what I do.
Right.
Maybe I thought, ooh, that looks like good coffee.
Okay, well,
I was maybe I dodged a bullet. I tried to see the positive side of it, and that it's really not the end of the world. I mean, it was just a totally random thing that occurred to me, and I've still got the podcast, I've still got coaching, I've still got everything else. So maybe it was all meant to happen for a reason. But I was really upset about it. And the good thing about the phase I'm in my life right now is that everything is making me turn inside and see what's really going on. And I was really off for a few days, and I thought, Deb, you're more upset about this then you're letting yourself realize, and that you're giving yourself space to mourn. Like I was really, really sad. But I've just always got this thing where it's like, oh, well, you know what? It's okay. That doesn't matter. But it does matter. And I need to give myself, I needed to acknowledge that this is actually something I'm really upset about. And I need to give myself time to, as I said, like kind of put it to rest. So that was a negative thing. I mean, who knows, but it was something I wasn't, it's something that didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, for sure. And I've just been like, I don't know if you can understand this. You probably can. Like, I've been really struggling with my happiness. Like, it's just been, I guess I'm in a bit of, I wouldn't say a depression, but just, I feel like I should be feeling better than I am. But again, this makes me turn inward. So it's also been really nice to just get really quiet inside and connect to, I've been doing a lot of meditation. I don't know if you meditate. Did you tell me that you do?
I try to do at least 5 minutes a day minimum. Sometimes when I actually have time, more, but mainly just 5 minutes. I mean, if you can't find 5 minutes in a day to sit down and just be quiet, then something's going on. But yes, I do still meditate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So sorry that I'm so fidgety, but I just was rushing and my hair looks like crap.
No, you're okay.
So thank you. So I've been going really deep into meditation. Like sometimes I'm in there for like an hour, and it's been an absolute saving grace, because it just helped. I really feel like I'm connecting to something a lot bigger than me, and something that's trying to tell me things that I'm being called to do. So it's a really positive experience. So like it's been a month or so of like wanting to just be more carefree than I
yes.
am, but also just getting this message and trusting the message that, okay, the reason that, we're not letting you, whoever we is, be carefree is because we're trying to tell you something. We're trying to make you go inside and figure some stuff out. And so I can see the good it's doing me. Like, it's the first time, I don't know if you saw my recent post about brain fog, or if you read it, but about how like instead of trying to avoid it, I'm really trying to look at it. And I do feel like brain fog isn't here to make me miserable or anything. I really feel like it's this communication with like some sort of calling. It's this some sort of muddled message that I haven't figured out yet. It's I hope you understand this kind of stuff. I'm sure you do. That's why I'm sharing.
Yeah, no,
with you.
it actually makes perfect sense. You've had
Okay.
it's something you've had for a while, if ever since I've talked to you from the
Oh,
beginning.
yeah.
But now that you've done what you're doing, I don't mean to get into it too quickly here, but now that
Yeah.
you've done all the work that we've done together and the meditations and things like that, you're starting to look at it in a different light, a different aspect, a different type of field of vision, where now you're thinking, wait a minute, this is here for a reason, but why is it here? And now you're questioning it instead of saying, okay, it's here. Meh, right?
Yeah. I'm just gonna have to, kiss off the next 2 months of my life because it'll be here and it'll make me miserable. So, let's just deal with it. So yeah, exactly. I'm not looking at that at all. Like, I've even thought that because I get this, I only get it on the left side of my brain, and I've been to so many various doctors about what it could be, and they all say, we understand brain fog, but it's so strange that you only get it on the left side of your head. I mean, in general, the left side of my body. And I feel like it's like the left sort of represents your past, and the right represents your future. And I just feel like it's unprocessed. I even think it's tears sometimes. Like, I can feel like I don't know if I've told you this before, but if you listen to our episode on crying, I really like, it's really not a joke. Like I stopped crying at some point. I can't, like I can count on both hands how many times I've cried in the last 15 years, let's say. And I really do think that I'm just getting to the root of, okay, what is this sadness that needs to be released and processed and acknowledged? And I also feel like it's also like pent up potential. Like it's just this, it's like a disconnect. I think I wrote this in my post too. Like it's like I know that I'm not living the life, not that I'm complaining about my life, but I know that I'm not living the life I'm destined to live. And I feel like the brain fog is coming to remind me, keep going, keep going, keep going. You're not there yet. And there was something else that occurred to me. And this might sound insane, but I really feel like it's my third eye. I don't like to talk too much about this stuff because not everybody understands it, but I think you do.
Yeah.
You know what the third eye is?
Yes.
It's like, yeah. I even feel like it's my third eye opening and just trying to make me see things that I haven't been able to see yet. So all of this, I think of as a really positive thing. It's just that you can't be in that euphoric state of meditation, all the time.
Right.
So I don't feel great all the time. But I mean, how can I explain it? Like I'm really optimistic. I've never really been able to explain that part of me, how I can feel like a sadness, but also like complete and utter optimism, and just like in this state of positive anticipation. So I do feel like things are coming. And I also know that I got really stressed about, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And now I can't even remember, but remember I told you I was going on a podcast as me,
Right.
to talk about mental health, right?
Yeah.
So that's something positive that I did,
Mm-hmm.
because that was me promoting me kind of thing. So, but just like, I don't know, a few days before that weekend, I was like, oh my God, I'm not ready to go on that. I've got my own episode to do, all these things like this, it was like this ton of bricks fell down on me. And I'm better, but I feel like the last month, because we're trying to wrap up some episodes before Chris is leaving on holidays first, and then I'm going to leave at some point. We're trying to get episodes done. We've, luckily been asked to be on a whole bunch of podcasts, and we've had to do all the preparation for that. There just hasn't been a moment really where I've been able to say I can just relax. Like
Yeah.
I think I'm exhausted. I think I'm exhausted, like just not like physically, but just always having something on my mind that I've got to do, that I've got to deliver, that I've got to show up for. So I've been thinking like this weekend, but I'm proud of myself, very proud of myself, because on Monday I was feeling super overwhelmed. Chris and I were supposed to be recording our episode, on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one thing. And then yesterday we were going on on Scatterbrain podcast, but we actually had to research some stuff for that. And I hadn't done anything. And then I had also scheduled yesterday. So we were going to be on Scatterbrain in the morning. Then I was going to go as me on another podcast that I'll tell you about.
Mm-hmm.
And then last Tuesday, we were supposed to record our episode, and it was my topic. And, believe it or not, these topics take a while to research. It's not that easy. And
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah. And especially, I'm trying to get a half an hour here or there, from work, between my daughter, work, and all this stuff. It's not, it really takes a while. And I was so overwhelmed last Monday. And I was so proud of myself, because I was like, no. You are not going to sit here in a cloud of overwhelm. What you're going to do is you're going to look at that cloud and you're going to say, what is making up that cloud? Like, that's not just a monolith of stress. That is specific things that can be broken down into bite-sized chunks that you can deal with. Let's do that. So I did that. I was like, okay, I know that I can't get my topic done for Tuesday. I know I worked really hard on the weekend, but it was a lot of research. I needed to do my rewrite. And I was like, I don't want to disappoint Chris. And she's, 9.5 times out of 10 on time. And here, I'm the one who's always, trying to push back the dates. It was all this stuff, how, again, I'm a bad person. I'm inadequate. Look at me. You can't count on me, and all this stuff. So I was like, I don't want to, and I didn't, Chris is like, one of my best friends, but, sometimes she is like, Deb, come on. If we push this back, then we're going to, and she's right. She's trying to plan this huge trip to the States, and she's got a lot of stuff. So I didn't want to disappoint her, but I was like, I need this right now. So I'm going to try. So I texted her and I said, I really don't think I can get my topic done by Tuesday, especially if I'm supposed to focus on scatterbrain. And of course, she texts me back and she's like, do not even think about it. Just forget about it. Do your thing, Deb. We've done so well, and we'll get as much done as we can before we leave, but not to the point that we're going to make ourselves sick. So she was like, it brought tears to my eyes. She was so supportive, and she always is, but it was probably my own negative self-talk. So immediately this chunk of the cloud was like, okay, I need to sort you out, but I can put you aside for a minute. I don't need to deal with you immediately. And then I was like, okay, what else is bothering you? So I'm proud of myself that I joined some of those Facebook groups you were telling me about finding a guest or being a guest.
Yeah.
All of this to promote my coaching. And so that's definitely something that I achieved. And almost immediately, there was a post by a guy called Michael Hogman, he's like an inspirational person, I guess. He has a huge social media following, like 127,000 followers on Instagram. He posts motivational stuff. He's been through his own stuff, like all of us. And I guess is just trying to share what he's learned from his journey with other people so they don't suffer like he does. So he said, if anybody's interested, text me. So I texted him and I told him a little bit about me. And he said, yeah, absolutely. Let's set up a prep, like a conversation to see if we're a fit. Right. And then, if you are, we'll record. And, but he's really, I don't know, I was intimidated by him because he has this huge following. I know a lot of people want to be on his show. I was, again, immediately in like, I'm not worthy mode. And anyway, so we had this conversation. He ended up being much sweeter and approachable during our call than he sort of appears on social media. So that was like, he has a totally normal job. He's like, he works in construction or something. And this is just something he does on the side. So that just kind of made him a little bit more human and very sweet. And so we were talking about what we could talk about. We decided to talk about self-worth and stuff like that. And so I had booked for, as I said, yesterday. And I just wanted to do a really good job. I want to research a few things. I know it's enough just being me on the podcast, but I want to research a few things so that I'm not completely unprepared. And so on Monday again, so I had sorted Chris out, and then Michael was really weighing on my mind. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to ask him if I can have an extension, which I felt really uncomfortable doing because I don't want to be that person that says no. I don't want to create a negative image about me in someone else's mind, like, oh, she's unreliable or this, that, and the other thing. Right. So I just texted him, really honestly. And I said, Michael, wrapping up the podcast is turning out to be much more work than I anticipated. So I apologize. If there's any way we could bump this back to the 17th of June, I would love it. Otherwise, if that's a problem, a scheduling problem for you, we can keep the 3rd. I'll make it work. He's like, absolutely no problem. And I'm like, you see, Deb, like I had this huge, like life ending, like weight on my shoulders. And I asked for 2 things and I got them. So I woke up a different person the next day. All I had to worry about was the podcast I needed to prepare for Scatterbrain. And I woke up a completely different person. So I was just really proud of myself for recognizing what my needs were, overcoming all the voices in my head saying, you see, you're going to disappoint someone again. And texting and asking for what I wanted and getting it. So that helped a lot. And I think that, so this weekend is pretty much over. And then next weekend we have another, a couple of things that we need to do for the podcast. But then after that, I'm really kind of going to be off for the summer, not from coaching, but I won't have all these scheduled things that seem to like cause me anxiety. I'll just be a little bit more relaxed.
Right.
And, like even my house is messing me out. I have 2 houses. Have I explained that to you?
No, but that's okay.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, we do, I think it's called bird nesting in the States, where my daughter lives at this house all the time and my ex-husband and I come and go, depending on who has her. So I've now got, 2 houses that I need to sort out and organize and throw stuff out and clean. And that was weighing on my brain too, because I just think that, I'm certainly not a neat freak or a clean freak or anything like that, but I want to feel good when I walk into my house.
Right.
I want to feel relaxed. But I just, again, I said, Deb, that is not a problem that can be solved right now. You need to just defer that until when the podcast is wrapped up, like mid-June. We're almost there. And then you can go mental on the house. Right now, that is not a problem you need to solve.
Right.
So do you see what I'm saying? Like it's like some like negative stuff is going on, but I think that the way I'm dealing with it is really productive and like listening to myself and expressing my needs and stuff like that. Sorry. So I think that in terms of, and then just like setting boundaries. I have one relationship where it's hard for me to set boundaries, but I do. And in terms of putting my needs first. And then this incredible thing happened. I met this guy, and it's not romantic. And even if it was, it can't be because he lives in the States. So, I've never met him. So really, like, we just started chatting like about 10 days ago. And it was just this beautiful thing that came into my life from nowhere. It was just, look at this, look at this wonderful, wonderful person who came into my life, whatever this is, again, I'm not looking for a romantic connection, but I just thought, I've got to be doing something right if these amazing people keep showing up in my life. This relationship, like you, I didn't know you, a few months ago. Of course I can't think of any other examples now, but so I can see the process working of just sort of sitting back, doing the work, and then just the stuff that I'm sort of subconsciously asking for coming into my life, because, this person just made me feel so much less lonely. I like talking about deep stuff, and not many people do. And so when somebody who really likes to talk about it like me comes to my life, that's a gift. So in terms of coaching, so I did the questionnaire. I did
Right.
the corrections that you asked
Hmm.
me to do. I sent it to my sister and I asked her to check and tell me if it prompted her to open up a Google Docs and all that stuff. Um, she's like, Deb, I haven't had a chance to fill it out. Anyway, she hasn't gotten back to me. I sent it to another friend and I sent it to you.
Right.
So I've been so busy that I haven't pushed anybody to get back to me. But that's something I will do maybe, this week to get some feedback so that I can start working on actually using the questionnaire now that things are quietening down a little bit with the podcast. Um, I've been doing my weekly posts, like more or less, sort of every 10 days or something. Um, that's it.
Okay.
And no, I was just gonna say, and I'm going on this podcast as me, so that's another thing I'm trying to pursue. Going on podcasts as myself to hopefully generate some sort of interest in me. Oh, and I joined a women's group here in Athens. They're all foreign women, which is something that I wasn't interested in doing. I did it years ago, and it was beautiful at the time, but I didn't feel the need to do it after that. But I forced myself to. It's yeah, it's called the Lean In Network, and I think it's actually networks all over the world of women who get together and support each other in any way they can, whether it's professionally. In Greece, for instance, a lot of women feel very lonely because they've come here from like the States or wherever, and they don't speak the language and they don't have friends. So we're really trying to support each other. So I went a little bit outside my comfort zone. I joined that again in hopes that it will create, it will add to my network and hopefully create some coaching opportunities for me.
Good. That's good thinking.
Yeah, I think it's important. Um, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. I don't know what you think of all that.
That's a lot. You've
Okay.
you've done a lot since the last we've talked, and had a lot of different types of experiences, positive and negative. Um, but I think out of everything that you've talked to me about up to this point, and I am going to go over a few things, but the one thing that really strikes me from beginning Deb to now is
Mm.
how you've been taking these negative and positive things and reacting to them in a specific way that helps you, that makes you look at things in a different way, just like I was saying earlier, where I think if you were still going the same path you were before we met,
Mhm.
a lot of these things would bring you deeper down, that brain fog would get thicker instead of thinner and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
seeing how it's not so much as the experiences that we have, but what we do with those experiences and how we perceive those experiences in our life and what we do with them is really what makes us who we are.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm seeing just so much growth from you
Oh,
from when we first started to now. And
oh,
I don't know if I had anything to do with that. And if I did, great. But whatever the situation is, you are taking these experiences so much differently and so much better and much more positive than you could have probably
oh.
been before.
Thank you. Thanks
So,
so much. Yeah. And yes, you are helping me because you always make me think forward. Um, so I know there's no going back. So I need to do whatever it takes to move forward. And I don't want to go back, obviously, but left to my own devices, maybe I could. I don't think so, but you do keep me accountable, which I love.
all right, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Can I even say thank you?
um, I'm going to talk a little. I want to talk about the Leaning Network a little bit. And I actually,
Mhm.
is this group has been around for a while? It sounds like.
So I'm just muting my phone, which I didn't do before.
That's okay.
No, not. I mean, it's been all over the world, I think, for a long time, but I think this is the first time one is being established in Greece.
If they have a website or any way to get their word out, I would really appreciate you sending that to me so I could promote them a little bit.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
And I will definitely put them in show notes and things like that. I also have the company that I also work for, that I'm in that group, the community, they would be interested in something like that too to help promote.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now they're doing something called Purple It Up, which is basically awareness of domestic violence.
Oh God.
So
Yeah.
we're doing that right now and promoting that, but I think this would be a great kind of way to follow up with that. Follow up that. So
Yeah. So what are you interested, like what do you think they would be interested in? Like reaching out to the women in the network or
I don't know. I just feel like
what?
there should be some kind of connection there, which I will talk to my owners with and see. I don't know. I just have this feeling that we can make a connection with them somehow. I don't know.
Great.
It's just what's flowing through my head right now, and that when you mentioned
Sure.
that, so
Yeah. Yes.
if you could do that, I'd really appreciate that. And if
Hmm.
you want to tell your group that that's happening, that'd be great.
Yeah, or maybe I would find, I'm not sure if there's a website. I don't think there would be a website for the Greek chapter specifically, but for the like overall organization, I'm sure there
Yeah,
would be.
yeah,
So I can send that to you. You can see if you think it's some sort of a fit, and then I would probably tell them something.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
thank you. Hmm.
Please follow up on the questionnaire with your family and everybody else that you've. I know
Yes.
it sounds like you kind of put that aside a little bit. Don't let that get too far away from you,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
because what'll happen is you'll forget about it. And this is why a lot of you won't forget about it, but it'll start getting on the back burner behind everything else that you got going on. And
Yeah.
that questionnaire is basically the center point of your coaching. So that really should be the focal point of what you should be, one of the focal points of what you should be following up with, because
Yeah.
that's going to be the one thing that's really going to push you forward is that questionnaire.
I
Because
think so too. Yeah.
so don't forget to follow up with him. Set like 10 minutes aside and send everybody a text. Hey, have you done my
Yeah.
questionnaire or something like that? So
Hmm.
we can so you can follow up with that. It is
Hmm.
quite important.
I agree. And what I can do too is I can find another two or three people that I can send it to who might be more, because I have a thing about like you can't make people do things they don't want to do. Like because I love personal development, I would have jumped on that questionnaire and been all over it. Um, but my sister's a different person, my friend is a different person, and that's there's nothing wrong with that, but it just might not click for everybody. I have a few more people. I have one person in particular who I told about, and she seemed quite interested in it. So maybe I can send it to her. Um, yeah, because I just don't feel like you can like there's no point in beating a dead horse. I'm not saying my sister's a dead horse, not even close, but you know, for whatever reason, she's got other stuff going on and it's not important to her right now. And that's fine. So maybe it'll be, and I think that if somebody fills it in like from a place of, oh, I just need to get this done to help Deb, because of course she wants to help me. I don't want them to fill it in like that. I want them to engage.
Right.
Yeah.
Something else that you might want to try. So you're going on this podcast as yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
So why don't you work something out with them where you can actually say have people come to your questionnaire from say hey, I'd
Hmm.
like to, if anybody wants to try my questionnaire, go to this place, my questionnaire is there, fill it out. And
Okay, that's a good idea.
And that
Yeah.
way you're not looking at just friends and relatives now that's possibly going to be finished filling this out, but people that you don't know might take the opportunity to fill that questionnaire out, and you can get feedback for them too. So now you're getting blind feedback is basically what's going to be your best feedback, because it's people that you have no idea who they are
Hmm.
giving you input on this questionnaire. So maybe there's a way you can work
Hmm.
that out, where on like at the end of the podcast say, hey, if anybody wants to know more about me or what I do, I have a questionnaire, please fill it out, go to blah blah
Hmm.
blah blah blah.
Yeah, actually, you're giving me an idea. I could, because of course I'm going to promote my life coaching, and for the time being, I don't have a website, so I'll tell them that they can find me on Instagram. Um, but I was thinking that just like flashed into my mind that I could say, I have instead of like sort of saying that I want their feedback on my questionnaire, making it sound like my questionnaire is something I've used, is tried and tested, it's been tried and tested a million times. And, sort of the first three people who reach out will get a free, I don't know, coaching session for an hour or something like that.
There you
I
go.
don't know.
No, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So that
Okay.
coaching session might even blow up, and if they take you up on the coaching session, that might blow up into a client. Who knows?
Exactly. That would be the point. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, I've also been noticing lately, especially lately, since we've been talking, you've been attracting a lot more positivity to yourself. You're meeting a lot of new
Yeah.
people, and you're opening up to other experiences and things like that. Just like this other person that you're talking about, uh,
Yeah.
this new friend of yours seems to be very positive and a good person so far. But make sure you keep your boundaries. Boundaries are really super important. I know you say when you were
Yes.
talking to me, you said I'm trying to keep these boundaries. And the way you
Yeah.
worded that to me
Yeah.
was like, well, I kind of have boundaries, but you got to be a
Yeah.
little more, you got to be a little more
Yeah.
firm, not just when you set your boundaries, but when you even talk about your boundaries, because how you talk about yourself is how you're going to express yourself. So the boundaries that you set for yourself,
Right.
when you say to yourself, well, I kind of have these boundaries that I'm trying, you got to be a little more firm. I have these boundaries, just like we talked about the imposter syndrome. How you say
Mhm.
them is how you're going to
Yeah.
perceive them in your head. So
Yes.
just make sure when you have these boundaries, I have these boundaries and I set them for myself. Because if you think of it that way, then that's what they're going to be. There's going to be set boundaries that no one's going to be able to cross unless you let them.
Yeah, you're right. I do try to be really careful about my language, and you're right. That's a good reminder. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be psychological about it. It's just, I'm not a
I
psychiatrist
love
or anything
psychological.
like
No, I
that.
I love psychological. It speaks to
Okay.
me, so we're good.
All right. So this podcast that you're going on, I think that's going to be monumental for you. That's going to be the first one that's going to like kind of break the ice for you to be comfortable going on other podcasts and things like that. But one thing I want to talk about too is no one really knows what you want or need until you ask. You can't just assume their emotions, their feelings, their personalities, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
just figure out, oh, he's this big person, so he's going to be this way. But he's really not.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've noticed too, especially doing what I do, is I've noticed that people, even though they might perceive like on the podcast or something, like they might seem like this big monumental person that has 100,000, 200,000 followers, they're still a person. They're still a human.
Yeah.
So treat him as a friend. Treat him as, I
Yeah.
mean, my guy, Pat Flynn,
Mhm.
he's huge. I mean, that guy is amazing. And
Mhm.
he's got hundreds of thousands of followers, but I could still talk to him like a human. We talked about our kids one time. We just talked about just like normal people.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you want to treat these people because they want to be treated by normal people because nobody else treats them like a normal person. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? They're so
Yeah.
used to people treating them like, oh, like there's big,
Yeah.
huge personality, so they're like shy away from him. He's wanting people to, I mean, this is what I've experienced. He wants people to treat him normally. Like when I'm at the
Yeah.
restaurant, I have celebrities that come into my restaurant all the time.
Wow. Cool.
And they're local celebrities, but they're
Mhm.
celebrities nonetheless. And I treat them like any other person because that's what they want. They want to be treated normal. They don't. I mean, they don't. I'm sure they don't mind the fanboy every once in a while, but they want to be treated like a normal person. Because
Yeah, for sure.
so don't just assume these person's feelings and emotions. And nobody's going to know what you want unless you ask. You can't be afraid to ask the question, "Hey, I need this. Can you do this for me?" You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
So don't
No,
feel
no,
too
no.
bad about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it was a good exercise texting him and asking for this. And as I said, he was absolutely lovely about it. So it was all in my head.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And then I wonder
Yeah.
why I have brain fog. I've got all this, you know, all this stuff, worrying about stuff that doesn't need to be worried about. Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in mind when you're talking, because you're going to come across more people like him,
Yeah.
especially doing what you're doing and that kind of thing. You're going to come across more people that have these followers, these businesses and things like that. But
Yeah.
you still want to just treat them like a normal person.
Yes.
So another thing too is you're telling me that Chris could actually get a lot of stuff done and pretty quickly and that kind of thing, where she can get her
Yeah.
stuff done on time and that kind of thing. Does does
Yeah.
she have a similar? I mean, does she prioritize her work the same way you do?
Um, I just think our daily lives are just so different because I'm not sure like if I'm going to answer your question, but she has three kids and that's a huge responsibility and a lot of pulls on her time.
Hmm.
I think that the big difference though is that when her kids are in school from like let's say 8 to 3 or 8 to 2 over here, that's a pretty big, I mean she has to cook, but it's a pretty big chunk of time where she can sit down and work on stuff. So I'm definitely not trying to give the impression that she has more free time than I do. I just feel like she might have like bigger chunks at a time. Whereas, I have to, um, I get up for work, let's say at 6. I have to be at work by, I don't know, let's say 9. I don't get off until like 5:36. Then I'm not home until 7. And then I'm pooped. I don't
Right.
have the brain power. So I think it's the timing. Like it's not that she has less work, but I think that she um has bigger chunks of time at like a time of day that's a little bit more conducive to working. I don't compare myself to Chris, like really. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I do and I don't realize it. Probably.
I'm just curious. You may be able to, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but sit down and actually ask her how she prioritizes her time,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
maybe you could learn something from that.
Yeah, true.
Because Chris is, I really don't think you're utilizing Chris enough as a resource. I mean, she's a good friend, awesome,
Yeah.
but I think there's other resources you could learn from Chris that you're not kind of getting into.
Yeah, that I never thought about that.
I think
But yeah.
Chris would be a huge resource for me, not just for being a friend, but for learning things that she does the way she does, and maybe
Mhm.
finding a way to incorporate something similar to that in what you're doing to be able to prioritize that time.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Um, okay. No, I think that's a really good observation. A classic example is that I mean, she's leaving for the States much sooner than I'm leaving for Canada, but her tickets are booked. She's organized, she's going. I haven't even booked my flight. Yeah, I'm going 2 months after her, but still, it's just like there's something. I just think it all comes back to like this I don't know, like this feeling that I've had since I was a little girl, which is much better now, but like I'm not worthy of going on vacation, or like the other shoe's going to drop and something's going to happen and I'm not going to be able to go. Like I really, no, I mean, if I dug in, I would figure it out. But I do think there's something there, a blockage there. It's not just about time management or anything like that.
So I can understand you telling yourself that. I've actually had that experience with myself too. I still have a lot of issues spending money on myself, as an example.
Yeah.
If I walk through a store, I can't even buy a pair of shoes for myself because I'm afraid that something's going to happen where I'm going to need the money somewhere else. And so
Yeah. You
because of
see?
that, a lot of my this is something I'm learning for myself, so I'm sorry. But a lot of my
Yeah.
a lot of myself goes unnoticed, unfixed,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
because I have a problem spending money on doing stuff for myself.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
and this is why a lot of what I've done with the podcast and a lot of the coaching, I've learned that I can prioritize myself first on
Mm.
at least a few things that I'm learning. This is something I'm learning for myself. So,
Yeah. Good
so
for you.
yeah. So this feels kind of weird to talk about, especially when I'm supposed to be coaching you anyway. So,
No, no, a wise coach told me that you have to be relatable.
yeah,
So what you're doing is being relatable, and I really appreciate that
yeah.
vulnerability. Thank you.
But you
Yes,
do deserve things.
I know.
You totally deserve things. There are things that you have done in the last couple months that I've talked to you have been amazing, and you deserve something for your hard work. You really do.
Mm, yes,
So
I know. Yeah,
don't be afraid to reward yourself for your work, because that's what we really do when we work towards things like this. We want to reward ourselves for the hard work because nobody else is going to reward you for what you do.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
that's what we got to do. We have to reward ourselves. So don't be afraid to do that. You deserve this trip. You deserve this upgrade in your computer, whatever it is that you're working towards as a
yeah.
goal. You deserve that goal.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. And actually, that just reminded me of something. Which is related to what we're saying. I met a guy last year when I was in Canada. I was actually with my mom. We were at Starbucks, and he was just, I don't know how we started talking, but just a super friendly guy. Originally from Jordan, lived for years in Dubai, and is now settled in Canada, has kids, a wife, and all that stuff. And we connected on LinkedIn, and we just, every, once a month or so, we text with each other. He's just a really sweet guy, bubbly, enthusiastic. And I'm not sure how it happened, but, and again, it's nothing romantic, like whatsoever. And he's like, I think I said something like, okay, I'll see you in Canada when I'm home. He's like, actually, no, because I'm going to my brother's wedding in Jordan. And I was like, oh, shoot, I'm going to miss you. He's like, well, why don't you come? Like, he's just one of those guys. And he's going to be with his wife and stuff. Like, it's really not
Right.
anything sinister.
Right.
And I was like, I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go. I'm going to spend the money. I love the Middle East. You know that from the podcast. I'm
Hmm.
obsessed with, like, I love the story of the Bible. I'm not necessarily a Bible toting, Christian, but I love the story of Jesus as a historical figure.
Right.
Just like I like the story of a lot of people, teachers, like Jesus was. Like Jordan is where he was baptized by, his cousin, John the Baptist. Like I get chills thinking of, like, and again, it's one of those things where I'm like, I manifested this. This is not anything to be scoffed at. Like, this is an opportunity that I brought into my life through everything I've been doing. So I think I am going to go. So I want to book that too. But again, it's like about all this like fear, like, oh my God, what the hell? I'm
Hmm.
going to go to Jordan. And, if I don't find a friend to come with me, I'm going to go by myself, because screw it. I'm not going to miss this opportunity. I think there are instincts too, though. Like, I think instinctively, I know that I'll be fine. Um, and my daughter, I was telling my daughter about it, and she's like, can I come? I said, no. And I, and I felt so bad, but that was a really hard boundary for me to put, because if I do this, I want to do this 100% for myself. I
Right.
don't want to have to worry about entertaining anybody or, yeah, anything. I just want to be selfish and go and do it. So anyway, that was just an example of putting myself first and reaping the fruits of my labor.
There you go. Good.
Yeah. Mhm.
You should actually do a couple recordings of yourself while you're out there. Make sure you post some stuff while you're out there.
Yeah.
That'll be a
Yes,
lot of fun, I think. I
it
think a lot of
was.
people would like to go with you.
Oh, I think so too. And especially with, I know that Jordan isn't in Mesopotamia, but it's
Right.
very close. So I think people would love all that reference.
If you can make it out to Mesopotamia, I think that would definitely be the icing on the cake there for
I
a lot of things.
Chris might never speak to me again if I
Uh,
don't. I was thinking of inviting her actually. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see.
all right. All right. So I'm going to get into a couple of things that we talked about that weren't so great because I do have a few things I do
Mhm.
want to say about that.
Mhm.
First of all, I am sorry that you couldn't continue on with the modeling thing. I feel
Yeah.
really bad about that. Um,
Mhm. Thank
uh,
you.
I wouldn't completely give up on that quite yet.
Yeah.
Um, what I'd like to know is I'm going to ask you a question here is what from the experience of getting, from starting to look for the modeling to actually getting to the job, and even though we didn't go
Mhm.
much further than that,
Mhm.
what can we learn from that experience? What did we learn from that experience?
Really, that the sky's the limit. There's no like a few things. The sky's the limit. Like, yeah, there's no end to my potential. I know that. I know that, but then sometimes anxiety brings this wave of brain fog down and says, no, you can't think clearly enough. Okay, I don't need to think that clear to be a model, but you can't think clearly enough to be a good life coach. You can't think clearly enough to be a good podcaster. Um, but when I was in that wave of thinking about the modeling, I was um it helped me, and I can still see the benefit of that. Like jump, like get outside my comfort zone, like jump into things and know that I can. Like, I don't know if you know de Cadenet. Amanda de Cadenet is a pretty famous photographer. She has a famous podcast in Los Angeles and all that stuff, very famous friends and stuff like that. And she had this thing where she said to all of her followers, we want to hear your story on the podcast. We interview all these different people, but we want to hear from one of our followers. So, record a message at this link, what your story is, and we'll decide if we're going to have you on or not. And I recorded one. And, she didn't call me or anything, but just even putting myself in the same realm as people who inspire me and just jumping fearfully. I say fearfully, not fearlessly, because for me, jumping fearfully is much harder than jumping fearlessly. Um, like, I would never have done that. I would have been like, who the f am I? Sorry, to text or, leave a voicemail for Amanda de Cadenet. Who am I? But now I'm starting to get the answer that, who I am? I'm Deborah Newt. That's who I am. And why, why can't, like, I know everything is at my fingertips. I really do. I just get tripped up, right? So modeling taught me that, even though it was a small example of that, it was just so different from anything I had ever done. Reaching out and getting the job, and believing in myself. But there was something else I was going to say that um, oh, maybe it'll come to me later. There was something I was going to say, like, as you asked, sort of what I learned from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned not to put limitations on myself. I'm worthy. I know that. Sorry, the other thing slipped my mind, but it might come back to me.
So Amanda, right, was her name?
Yeah.
Right. So that actually goes even right back to what we were talking about with the with I don't have his name right. The other
Yeah.
podcast.
Michael Hogman.
Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
thing. They're still
Yeah.
human,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Even though they're these big
Yeah.
people, there's nothing wrong with at least reaching
Mhm.
out to them once or twice to see if you can be human with them. So
Yes.
kind of the same
Yeah.
thing. That's what kind of strikes me there with and keep pursuing it. I think should keep pursuing
Yeah.
it, not just send that one voicemail, but maybe send another one, or maybe just send her a tweet or however, I don't know her social medias, but whatever. You
Yeah.
never know. She might actually reach out to you just because she sees you here and then she sees you here too. You're starting.
Yes.
This is how I reached out to Pat Flynn too. And this is how I
Right.
got him to notice me is I reached out to him in different places and just kind of kept going. And
Wow.
and then one day
Yeah.
he mentioned my name in his podcast, and that's what really
Wow.
blew it up for me. And I think if you do the same thing, where where you just kind of reach out to her here and associate with her there and that kind of thing, she's going to see your name start popping up in other places and
Right.
realize that you're really somebody to talk to.
Right. That's a fantastic tip. I also, sorry, I remembered the other thing I was going to say
Yeah.
about the modeling.
Mhm.
I knew that would happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember me telling you this. You probably do, that the modeling idea came to me after a pretty deep meditation.
Hmm.
Like I had stopped meditating and I was just sort of in this nice sort of euphoric state, and I was like modeling.
Right.
So the other thing it taught me is to trust what I hear, the messages I get, because I do get messages. So yeah, so that was another positive thing that came out of it.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
That's good. And yes, you should listen to those. At very least minimum, write them down when you have them as soon as they come up.
Yes.
Because I've had those come up with me too. I've done that
Yes.
exact same thing, and I've ended up with. I'm actually working on my next solo podcast because of a notion like that.
Wow.
So
Good for you.
yeah, and that solo podcasts are really big for me because I don't like doing solo podcasts.
What do you mean? Like the same podcast that you do, but it's just you talking?
Yeah, there's no
Okay.
guest, there's no other. It's just me. So
Wow.
the funny thing is the one podcast that I have so far that is a solo is my highest downloaded podcast.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah, so it's like I really should be doing more of them, but it's one of my fears that I have to overcome. That it's one of my
Wow.
biggest fears that I have to overcome. So when I got this idea that kind of popped in my head from one of those states that you were talking about, um,
Right.
that's what I have to do my next podcast. And I'll talk to you about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being vulnerable with me. Um, no, really, I do. And I, oh my God, I just think I can't imagine somebody not wanting to hear you talk for an hour about whatever the hell you're going to be talking. I mean, okay, if it's like car mechanics, I might tune out.
But
But
well, don't have to worry about that. I can't even change oil in my car. So we're
okay, that's what we have people to pay for.
right.
But good for you, Jesse. Bravo. We say bravo in Greece.
No, that's okay. I know. It's all right.
Yeah.
So, I'm really interested in why this modeling didn't work out for you for some really strange reason. I really think that, I mean, what kind of research can we do to figure out why it didn't work?
It's okay. I do. Okay. It's like, let me, like, okay, firstly, it was 100% to do with me having been in that horrible case. Because even though, no, I don't think anybody, like, if I issued this invoice or invoices, you know, I'm not going to say illegally, but like, using a different, let's say, description of what I did. Like, instead of saying I modeled for them, say that I translated for them, because I can translate. I'm legally allowed to translate. I'm just not on the is it the IRS, like your
Yeah.
tax people?
Hmm.
I'm on the books as a business consultant, a translator, and an English teacher. That's all I'm allowed to practice. So if I like right now, the issue was that I can't issue an invoice to a modeling agency as a model because I'm not declared to the IRS as a model. It's really that simple. So I thought, okay, maybe I could issue an invoice as maybe saying that I translated something from Greek into English. So it would be like a
Oh,
little.
that's a little shady.
You
That's a little
see,
shady. Yeah.
you see.
So I don't know
So
if it's a law thing between Greece and US or any kind of thing, but I don't have to if I have to register something and I have to register as a business, then everything falls underneath the umbrella of my business. So that's how
mhm,
I'm able to do coaching and a few other things on top of what I'm because I have a business name,
right,
and then everything I do is umbrellaed under that particular business name. So I
right.
don't know if that's the same out there. Can you register as a model?
Okay, here's the thing. So right now, there are a few things like in Greece, I'm a freelancer, but because I only issue invoices to one company, the company that I work for, I have like can't remember what the word is, but like a favorable taxation, I'm treated as a salaried employee as opposed to a freelancer. So I get taxed less, which of course is a good thing. If I start issuing to an additional company, and I can register as a model, but that means like it really just blows my taxation, essentially. And so what I spoke to two tax experts actually, and one was like, just see, like, can you run with it for a few jobs? Like, see if it's going to turn into anything. Doing this, maybe not writing exactly what you really did on the invoice, sort of thing, because, in Greece, people will encourage you to break the law. So, and then, if you see that it's something that's going to turn into something, then it'll be worth changing your papers and this and that and being taxed more and all that stuff. But it was kind of like a chicken or egg thing. I was like, well, the only way that I can sort of see if this is going to fly is if I actually work. And if I work, I need to issue an invoice. And if I issue an invoice in the status that I'm in now, the invoice is not going to be right. It's going to be lying to some extent. And we're talking about piddly money, right? And I'm sure, this tax expert was like, Deb, that because this the modeling gig, I don't know if I told you this, it was mainly for commercials. It wasn't like print, like magazines and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
So like that the tax office isn't sitting around watching TV trying to screw models over, And I'm like, yeah, but that's what I said about the other case that I got involved in.
Right. And so your past experience is kind of overtaking what they're saying.
100%. But Jesse, I do think that, the modeling thing came up for a reason. I don't think it's dead. I don't think it's dead. It might come up again in the way that it's supposed to, and in a doable way.
Did you happen to network with any other models while you were doing this?
Well, no, because I only went for an interview. I got hired, and then I didn't. Couldn't even go on my first job.
So I'm thinking, is there any other possibility that there might be somebody else in that group or anywhere else that might be going through the same thing that you're going through right now, or has gone through the same thing you're going through right now?
It could be. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because if you could find a person that's gone through the same thing that you're going through right now, you could pick their brain and ask them, how did you overcome this? What was the thing that you did to get past this invoice thing or whatever?
Okay.
Because I think now you know the industry a little bit, you might be able to find other people in that same industry that might have experienced something similar to you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that is a good idea. And I also think, though, that sometimes if you just leave something a little bit, it has a tendency to work itself out. Like it'll work the kinks out by itself. Oh, sorry. I just keep looking to just in case my daughter's calling me. But
no, it's okay.
So, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's a good idea. Yeah.
I think that if you want to pursue the modeling thing, that's great. If not, and you want just to chalk it up to experience, that's perfectly fine too. It's completely up to you what you want to do at this point, but you had the experience and you can do it.
Yes. Yeah. And I also know that I can, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear that thought.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I also know that like other stuff will come up. Like maybe it wasn't, maybe the whole thing wasn't for me to be a model. Like maybe it was just like to plant this seed that I can do other stuff. Right. So anyway, I think I lost my train of thought, but that's okay.
Well, it just makes me think that what was the whole purpose of the model to begin with? What was the thing that was going through your head when you said, I want to model this because?
I think that I was looking at my gifts and talents and thinking outside the box on what I can do. So it was just about exploring something completely different that I can do and that I'm proud that I can do because I have worked on my body for so many years and I take care of myself and all that kind of stuff. So I think that I also think that something that's going on with me, and I never want to sound ungrateful, but I think I'm really bored with my everyday routine work. Yeah, no, right?
Join the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was like so different. My heart was like going pitter patter because it was just so different from anything I've ever done or even allowed myself to think I can do. Um, so yeah, I think I was just trying to taste a different kind of life, and of course, additional income, of course, and
Of course.
easy money.
But what I'm saying is, and I remember what you said when we first talked about this, and this is why I'm going back to this.
Mhm.
What was the thing that was most important to you about doing this modeling? What were you trying to represent?
Oh, how, you know, life can start at 50. Is that what you're talking about? Yes.
So why do you need a modeling agency to prove that point?
Yeah, exactly. I don't.
Why can't you just do it on your own? Why can't you just like start some things or join some groups or something like that where you could start presenting yourself as life after 50 starts?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine about my niche. She used to be a life coach. Now she's a certified therapist. And she was like, have you found your niche? And I'm like, no, because I haven't even gotten my feet wet. And that could be a niche. That could be a niche. We talked a lot about mental health and how much experience I have with my own. And she was like, Deb, you could give so much hope to people struggling with mental health. Like that could be your niche. That, life can be good even with mental health issues.
But why can't we take that one step further? Why don't you combine?
Yeah.
This is something that I've been doing lately. Why can't you
Uh-huh.
combine the two?
Right. Yeah.
Helping people over 50 with mental health issues, or you've got
Yes.
some great things going, but you have them over here. Mash them
Yeah.
together and make one product
Yeah.
that can be really beneficial for you.
You're right, because, and then I'm even thinking about, going on this podcast. I don't want to just present myself as a life coach. That's so general and vague. It doesn't convey any information. I mean, the undiscovered entrepreneur, is so clear that, right, that you
Right.
are a business coach, an entrepreneurial coach. Where I don't like, I think I want to say something a little bit more unique and close to what I'm hoping to do. So this is really helpful, helping people over 50.
And how can you incorporate yourself into that? It's really,
Mm-hmm.
if you really think about it, there's ways where you can incorporate yourself into that mix by using yourself as a catalyst of being somebody that could be successful over 50.
Yes, of course, lead by example, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really good, Jesse. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and like I said, if you want to research the whole modeling thing, you can, but I think it was more of an experience thing, something you wanted to try, but something that you could learn from that you can use in your entrepreneur adventure,
Yeah.
the experience and what it taught you and that kind of thing.
Right.
But
Yeah, I
if you
agree.
want to pursue it by all means. I think it's great.
I think it's great too. To be honest, the funny thing is that I think that before, like, all of this with the tax stuff came up on a Monday. And that Saturday, I went to the gym the previous Saturday and I really messed up my foot. Like I wasn't doing anything with my foot, but I don't know what happened exactly. I guess I wasn't quite ready to go to the gym. And And I was thinking, it's actually a blessing that I didn't get that job because I would have been hobbling. Like
Mm.
it took quite a while. So, I'm always looking for little ideas that
Maybe
maybe
it
this
happened
was
for a reason. Maybe it went that way for a reason.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is that, the gym is an important part of my life. And I've really just given myself permission to not go until my foot really does get better. So
Right.
I don't even think I'm in like the best shape of my life right this second to be doing the modeling. So maybe it was all meant to happen for a reason.
That makes sense to me. That
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah. The truth is in the cracks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I want to hit on too here real quick, and if this gets a little too weird for you, that's just let me know. But giving yourself the room to have emotion.
Yeah.
And this is excuse me. This is something I've been learning too. Not just the raw emotion of anger or crying or anything like that, but the mixture, the different types of emotions that we have as humans. You need to give yourself the room to have those emotions. It's not going to do any good bottling them up. It's not going to do any good pushing them down, because if you do that, it's like a balloon, you blow up.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I know it just sounds like there are sometimes you are struggling with emotions.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You need to be able to express those emotions in one way, shape, or form. Whether
Mhm.
it's like talking to somebody, even talking, I know it sounds kind of weird, but even talking to yourself, like
Yeah.
there's times where I will just look in the mirror and just talk to myself.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Why are you feeling this? These are questions that I
Wow.
ask myself all the time, even in my head. I'm feeling this emotion. Why am I feeling this emotion? Do I need
Exactly.
to express this emotion? Do I need to
Mhm.
sit down and meditate on this emotion? Do I need to just cry? Do I need to watch a really sad movie and just cry for
Mhm.
no reason?
Mhm.
You know, things like that. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of that I'm also exploring while I'm in my meditation.
Yes. Yes.
Exploring my emotions while in meditation is it's very enlightening, because you're already looking inside yourself for answers. That's
Mhm.
basically why we do meditation, is not just to calm
Mhm.
ourselves, but to find ourselves.
Exactly.
So I would actually ask you to give yourself more room to express emotion and to
Thank you.
feel
Yeah.
emotion. Now, you don't need my permission to do that, just so you know.
No,
But
no, but it's encouragement
yeah,
and it's key for me. It really is. Like you've hit on something very key because um I think that I was in so much pain for so long that I just learned to stifle my emotions because I was afraid that if I there's so much packed in there that I haven't unpacked yet, but I am unpacking it finally. But I think I was afraid that if I let my emotions go, they would be so overwhelming that I would never like snap back, right? And but then I also have it very deeply ingrained in me that um to ask for help or to not be capable, to admit any kind of vulnerability means that I'm not capable, I'm not strong enough, I'm not um I have a very hard time accepting help. Very hard time because I'm usually the one giving the help. And it's like even like this, I hope I say it in a way that you'll understand. Like even sometimes being coached by you, it's like, Deb, you know, you don't need help. You don't need you know this stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
yes,
it right? So it's really hard for me to accept that I don't have all the answers. I can't solve everything. And you know what? See, this is funny. Like this guy came into my life, and I was thinking recently about how I don't necessarily want a relationship, but what I want is this is very intimate. Like I sometimes just need to be able to put my head on a man's chest or shoulder. I've always made things work out in my life. I don't need someone to fix my problems, but I do need somewhere to lay my weary head. Um, and I think that, sometimes it would be so nice to just have a man. And I do think it has to be a man. Like, it's not a woman friend can't give me the same thing. I think I need that comfort that, you know what, I'm here. I'm here. And not in a way that means you're not enough for yourself. You are a strong, confident, um, dynamic woman, but I am here when you just need to rest. And I'm here to tell you on those days when you're not sure if everything's going to be okay. I don't have too many of those days. I'm here to tell you that they are. You know why? Because you're you. So I'm not really sure where I was going with this, but um, I think that I've been putting that need out into the universe, and that's why this person came. Of course, we don't have a physical relationship, but just yesterday I was telling him about, being stressed. I didn't have my topic ready to record, and it's just weighing on me. And God, I only have like one weekend, and I'm spending the whole thing researching, and he just totally talked me through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was feeling so uncomfortable because I was like, no, 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 you don't understand. I'm thinking, I'm the one who solves people's problems. I'm not the receiver, I'm the giver. Like, it's really hard for me to receive, but I let myself listen. I let myself be soothed by his words and actually take his advice. And of course, I got my topic done. And of course, we got it recorded. And I would have done it anyway. But I just needed that little breath in my sails because I don't always, it's hard to constantly be your own battery supply.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And that's hard to admit. But
yes, it is. It is very hard to admit.
Yeah.
We're very common in that.
Right. Oh yeah. I think we're common in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So my point of all, sorry, I was just going to say that my point from all that was that I am recognizing my needs and my emotions and trying to figure out what I need, like giving my emotions space. So I think I'm making progress on what we're talking about, but yes, there's more work to be done, of course.
Right. So you suffer from the same complex I do, called superhero complex.
Oh, okay. Sounds like something I would suffer from.
Yeah, and it's the need to swoop in and save the day, basically.
Yes.
Put all your problems on me. I will solve them for you.
Yeah, look how strong I am.
Look how strong I am. And any show of weakness, any show of I need help or anything like that is going to take away from that superhero complex we have, because we're supposed to be the strong one.
Right.
We don't want to show that we're weak. We don't want to show that we need help, because we want everybody to put their problems on our shoulders and we will fix it.
Because that will make us good people, because somewhere deep down, we feel like we have to prove that to the world. Just a sec. Sorry.
Oh my goodness, bless you.
Allergy season. Thank you. I sneezed in the middle of the recording today. Yeah. You're keeping that in?
I'm keeping that in. That's great. Okay.
So, I know this episode we have to be careful with, though, because I've said a lot of names like Chris and stuff. So we have to be really careful with it.
No, it's okay, because a lot of them are going to get in my show notes, and we will give them accolades for people to find them.
Right. Okay.
So don't worry about that. Okay. So yeah, and I've suffered from superhero syndrome as long as I can remember. Even as a little boy, I wanted to be the one to help people out. I wanted to be the one to save the day. If you have a problem, I will go in and swoop in and save the day. But the problem is, and this is what really was profound to me, that the first time I heard it, it made me cry, just because I didn't think, who saves the superhero?
Right. Right. Right.
And the superhero is having a problem, and has an issue. See, now I'm getting all choked up. Who swoops in and saves the day of the superhero? And
that's right.
It's
take your time.
It's really hard to think about, because the first thing that goes to your head is nobody, because I'm the one that's supposed to be saving everybody. There's nobody above me to save me because I am the one. That's it.
Right.
And that's not true.
That's it.
It's really not true. There are
It's
people
not true.
that will help you, but you have to be vulnerable enough to ask for the help. That's
Exactly. And the other thing is that and it's also, you just said something that I would have said too. There's no one else above me. You see how we put it into a hierarchy?
Mhm.
Just because a person can help you doesn't mean they're above you or better than you or more advanced or more enlightened. Like you see what we do there? We're like, well, I must be lower down on the totem pole since I need help. No, it's a mesh. It's a cross. It's a horizontal thing. It's not a hierarchy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. It's totally true.
So I guess what I'm trying to say here is don't be afraid to ask for help. It's not a show of weakness. It's just a show.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I need that reminder for sure.
Yeah, because I do every day. I need that reminder every single day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew, boy, we covered a lot, even for me. That's
I know. Well, God, it's been an hour and a half. I know it's a bit late, but it's amazing. It went so quickly.
Yeah, it did. It really did. I just really like the fact that you're being really a lot more optimistic than you used to be about everything that's happening.
Yes, me too.
So I really commend you for that. I applaud you for that. Thank you very much for being you. And you are enough.
Oh,
You really are enough.
I know. So are you. So are you, Jesse.
I do my best. I try.
No, you succeed.
Oh, yo, gee. Okay.
I did something else that I wanted to tell you quickly. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I think you were just about ready to say something, but just before we close,
Yeah.
I had I was really concerned about my daughter about 2 weeks ago. I think that might have been the weekend that I canceled with you, but
Mhm.
she's fine. But
Okay.
there's just some stuff going on,
Right.
and I just feel the need to be closer to her. And especially now that I'm separated, I spend even less time with her. So it's just become apparent to me that I would like to, like, for the time being, I can't quit my job. I can't quit like having a full-time salaried job, but I do want to possibly work remotely, and my company does not support that at all. So I've been thinking, okay, maybe once maybe from September, I can look for a job that does allow me to work remotely, because there are a lot of jobs that do.
Mhm.
And so that's, again, very far outside my comfort zone. But so this recruiter that I know, again, from LinkedIn, we've been in touch over the years. He's approached me for a few jobs, and I've just kept telling him I'm not interested in making a career change, but we've been friends and sort of texting. And he texted me about something sort of friendly on Friday. And I said, I answered him and stuff, but then I was like, you know what, Dan, I think I might actually be ready for that career change we've been talking about, and which was really hard for me to write. And he's like, fantastic. Okay, let's set up a chat. So we're supposed to be talking at some point tomorrow. But again, another move that I made that could be something exciting, but definitely scary, because I've been at this company for 12 years and it's hard for me to, like, it's kind of a no-brainer. Whereas if I start a new job, I have to prove myself and all that stuff, but I'll just have to weigh the benefits if I do get an interview or something. I'll just have to, I'll just have to weigh it all out and see what to do.
I know it's kind of late for you compared to me, so.
It's not that late, but I think it's allergies and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I would actually sit down and physically write pros and cons of both. I know that sounds very cliche and that kind of thing, but ultimately when you see it in front of you and kind of like take note of everything that's pro and con of both all in one piece of paper, it gives you a better idea and a clearer picture of what you're going to be into, instead of just like putting it in your head, because it gets jumbled up in there. I know it does for me too. But putting things out, or even do the sticky note thing like I did with you a couple of times ago, whatever it is that you can get those ideas out of your head, why I should this, why I shouldn't do this. you know,
Right.
but ultimately, I'm glad you're getting out of your comfort zone and exploring other things that you generally would not do.
Yeah,
And I think that's really amazing.
exactly. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Mhm.
do too. And you're definitely helping. So that's why I signed up with you. I wouldn't have signed up with you if you weren't helping. It's pretty simple.
Well, I'm
All
glad to
right.
be of service. Thank you for listening to the coaching edition of The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, brought to you by Doing It Today Coaching. If you want to get across the start line, contact me, DJ Scoob, at doingittodaycoaching@gmail.com. Say the words "Do It Now" for a free 2-hour discovery call to see how I can help you in your entrepreneur adventure. Art and graphics by Elaine Wilson, supported by my Patreons, Brian Briggs of Ocean Tree Creative and Oliver Siegel of Anal, and hosted by me, DJ Scoob. Click the show notes below for more information. And remember, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. As a worker of 2 full-time jobs, running a podcast and coaching, every minute counts in my day-to-day. It's hard to be consistent in any of my social medias. And at this point, I cannot hire a social media manager. Pinnacle AI to the rescue! I've been using Pinnacle AI for a couple of weeks now and seeing big improvements in my outreach and consistency in all my social medias. Do you want to save time and increase your productivity too? Go to tuepodcast.net/AI for more information. Save yourself time and grow your brand. Try it now and see what it can do for you.